Message, the America First Republicans 100% endorse this campaign and stand behind a candidate who was so. I thought that we were in a Republican town in a Republican county, but apparently they're running this place worse than the slums of Philadelphia during the stolen 2020 election. Am I right? What the hell has been going on? Rhinos. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Mike Crispi. I'm the chairman of the America First Republicans in New Jersey, was a surrogate for President Trump in this past election, spoke at the historic Wildwood rally down at the shore, and ran for Congress in 2022 in this area. So I know Ocean County pretty well, reside here, know Monmouth and Ocean, spend a lot of my time politically here, and all over the state over the last year campaigning for President Trump. You know, we were in every single county, doing 32 events for the president. And when you go all around New Jersey, you're in more liberal counties and you're in more Republican counties, but you start to figure out who's who. And it always kind of was wild to me how no matter where I went, I would always leave thinking, how is it that the leadership of the people who run the most conservative county are like the most liberal, treacherous, cheaters, liars, fraudsters? It's like a crazy thing. And I would go all around and I would talk about, oh, you're from Ocean County. Oh, it's conservative down there. It's like Alabama. I'd say, yeah, but our leadership is like Philadelphia. Our leadership is left wing. And, you know, they always run these schemes where they're trying to get people in places just so they could get contracts, just so people could make money. And then who gets screwed? We get screwed. The taxpayers, right? We get screwed. But they've taken it one step further, okay? In their bid to enrich themselves and solidify themselves in their positions of power. Now they have resorted to stealing elections, okay? And that is why I am out here today. Because when you start stealing elections and you start acting like, again, you guys all remember, what were they doing in Philadelphia in 2020? Putting up the poster boards, the people who wanted to look at the counting had to go to different rooms. They were unclear on how many ballots came back, and there was estimates, and then the number went up, and then the number went down. Does that remind you of anything? Yep. It's unbelievable what's been going on. I said, well, this has to be, surely this is about some type of contract and some type of work, right? And of course the answer was yes. Of course it was yes. I said, what happened to people just showing up to vote for the most capable person to do the job and the will of the people not being denied? What happened to that? It's like a laughable concept, right? No, that doesn't happen anymore. No. We're not electing the best and the brightest. We're electing the cronies of George Gilmore that are going to be wallflower. I'm not going to say curse words because we have nice women in the crowd. But weaklings, okay? Weaklings who fall in line with this Ocean County deep state. And that's exactly what it is. It's a deep state because they rely on surface level voters and people they've cut deals with to vote and not ask questions of who they're voting for. And it's an unbelievable phenomenon and trend. People don't know about the way that the Ocean County GOP works. They don't know about the way that these clubs have their weighted votes and the line and the county committee, and like nobody knows about this stuff. I know everybody in this room does, but more people in the county need to know about this inner working because it's starting to affect every single facet of our lives, including going to fire services, law enforcement. Whenever you have political self-serving interests impacting the safety and livelihoods of everyday citizens, that's when it's hit critical mass. It has. It's not just people elected to the council doing favors. Now they're messing with people's livelihoods. They're putting their own money ahead of what's right for people when it comes to, I don't know, getting their house saved or a cop, coming and responding in less than 30 minutes. If they're getting mugged or shot or robbed. This is all a byproduct of corrupt insiders that call themselves Republicans, but are anything but. I hear crazy stories. And then I see all these cronies, right? Like these people who are in this Tom's River Club, right? That I used to go to meetings there, and they blocked me on Facebook because we had conversations that were critical of Bill Spadea. And so what kind of crew calls themselves Trump Republicans, blocks you on social media, doesn't want the public to know how the process actually works because they don't want you involved. And then on top of that, every single mode of an election revolves around who can get in, so who can award government work to make money, and then at the end of the day, oh, we'll screw the taxpayer. They'll pick up the bill. We'll cut services to pay for these new legal expenses, and then the people whose house is on fire will get screwed. That's okay. That is a different brand of political corruption. That is left-wing swamp. That's worse than Hudson County could ever be. we're in Ocean County. This is like Hudson County on steroids level corruption. So it really is on all of us to change it. And we know that they stole this election here in this fire commissioner race. We know they stole it. Absolutely. Round of applause for that. And just all of everyone in the crowd knows the story. And even I don't know we have sustained round of applause for that. And there are so many different details and layers of this fraud. But on its face, we know it was stolen. We know there's conflict of interest. We know George is on the Board of Elections. We know they've been dishonest about the count. We know that they launched these lawsuits, and the lawsuits are getting funded by people who are making money off of the legal expenses. Did I get that right? What a scam. This is not what local government was supposed to be about. This isn't what state government was supposed to be about. Yeah, probably a bunch of other people too, right? So it's not supposed to be like this. And we shouldn't accept this, especially in Ocean County. This is supposed to be the conservative capital of the state. I go all around the country and people talk about Jersey and they say, oh, it's a blue state. And I say, well, I live in a really red area. People say, really, Ocean County? They look it up. Wow, this place really went for Trump. That's great. But until we clean up this local stuff, we're never going to be truly as great as our potential is. We should be the beacon, not just for New Jersey, but for the Northeast United States. Ocean County is hot red. There's a national focus on Ocean County. People from all over say, wow, the Jersey Shore is super red, and they vote really for Trump. It's a beautiful thing. But now we need to take the momentum and wake up people and actually explain to them, I know it's kind of painful, the minutia of how they rig everything local on up, and that is how they build their little fiefdom that they make money on and screw us all at the end of the day. Am I getting it right? You guys understanding what I'm saying? It is such a scam. So it starts at the local level, and that's why I'm here. Obviously very involved in helping President Trump, and I ran for Congress, and I'm always talking on television about federal issues. But if you don't get the local right, you don't have anything. If you have a bunch of people who rely on their job at the towns or the counties, and they're afraid to speak up because they're afraid that they're going to lose their job, how is that a conservative system? How is that a system that we can be proud of? How is that a system where we can say we're the most conservative county in New Jersey, but this is how our system works, behind the scenes? That's not conservatism. That's fraudulence. That's a scam. And the head of that scam, the head of that snake, is George Gilmore. And this election is going to be a referendum on him and his scams. And it's going to be even better than the way that they just went down like a ton of bricks trying to put up Bill Spadia and that whole thing, right?
Yep. Thank God.
Thank God. It's funny, I can tell the story because we're all friends and it's a nice, intimate crowd. I told Bill Spadia in Toms River last January, because we were friendly, because we were both in the media and stuff like that. I said, Bill, if you sign your campaign away to George, you are going to get robbed of all your money. It's going to go to consultants. It's going to go to all these things that aren't going to help you win. You're going to get crushed. Especially when there's no line, right? Everyone knows about the county line stuff. And it's going to happen, and you're going to be done for. And you know what he said to me? You know what he said? He said, Mike, I don't know. I don't think that you want to step into the buzzsaw of George Gilmore. That's what he said. We can all laugh at that because it's a joke. The buzzsaw. He got absolutely crushed in Ocean County when there wasn't this layer of fake protection, this county line scam, okay? This racket holding him up. And that was the first blow. That should be a wake-up call to everybody that, yeah, we want to have a good Republican organization, but we want it to be filled with good people. We want people in there who want to grow the party and expand numbers and have an exchange of ideas and raise money from common people who own small businesses and want their voices to be heard, not insider special interests who rely on this county line and county council and all these different scams created with these bylaws that they'll never show you, by the way, if you ask. They do all this because they want minimal amounts of people involved. That's what they want. They want less people involved. And the fundamental difference between them and us is we want more people involved. We want the most people involved. We want the most transparency. Because if you're looking at just candidates, right, tit for tat, and it's just an exchange of ideas on the merits of how you're going to do your job, we win every time. When you have less people and you cut deals with groups of people, that is how you get into the mess that we're in. So I implore you all here tonight to multiply yourselves with explaining the minutia to two people. Is that so hard? Like, when I mean the minutia, I mean how the county committee works and how these club works and all this stuff. You got to explain this stuff to people. Because if more people don't understand it, then they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. If more people understand how they're rigging and stealing fire commissioner races, and that's putting everybody in the community at risk, and now they're doing all these different scams for contract work, and that, at the end of the day, raises all our taxes. If somebody doesn't know how this works, and they get upset about it, I know everyone in this room is engaged, but I talk to my normie friends, and they say, I don't know, my taxes just keep going up, and the state's crazy. They don't know about how it all works at the local level. They don't know about this stuff. So I just implore you guys to go to neighbors, friends, colleagues at work, and just say this is how it works. Just explain to them how this stuff works a little bit. They'll never fully get it all right off the cuff. But if you start with the hard-hitting stuff like this race and explaining some of the fundamental elements of this race and how if they'll steal a fire commissioner race, it kind of opens them up to do anything, really. If you explain that, not only are we going to win this election and send a message to George, but we are going to get more people into the party so we can take it back in 2026 in this county and actually get to a point where we're going to have the conservative Ocean County that we all deserve. It is what we deserve, and it is what we are going to get from now through if we do this work. So, I'll close with this. I'll say this is a special election, so that means that there's probably going to be a little bit of lower turnout, obviously, but everybody needs to get engaged in this thing here. And there's so many different people that are going to try to work the deals and work the scams and use the lawfare and hide the count and rig the Board of Elections. But, as we said during the Trump campaign, if you make it too big to rig, you send the message, it's undeniable, and then when you win, you treat the way that these bullies deserve to be treated. You hit them in the mouth, proverbially, of course, we don't stand for violence, and you eradicate them from the system and ostracize these bullies to the sidelines where they belong. We'll take back this county, and it all starts with taking back this stolen election for fire commissioner. Let's go do it. We appreciate the support, and I'm telling you, we're just getting started in Ocean County. Because if we don't clean this up, we're not going to clean up the state. We're not going to clean up anything at the federal level. It all starts here. And Anthony, thank you so much for what you're doing. Let's get this election back on track. All right, thank you, everybody. Let's go. Make Tom's River great again.